Some people think it's funny, some people think it's odd, but everybody thinks that Corbin smells just like a pod.
A what?
Pod. It's fart in Hindi and Bengali. Yeah.
Hey, welcome back to our stupid reactions. Idiots. I'm Corbin.
I'm Rick.
You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter,
Follow us
on personal YouTube channels in the description below.
It's become unintelligible. You saw the thumbnail. You're not hallucinating.
Just kidding.
Actually, this is a review for Doom 3.
Yes, I'm sure you'll be equally satisfied. Obviously, we are doing a movie review of the Hindi 2008 film Jodhaa Akbar.
Which we actually have seen before, kinda, because we've seen every musical number from it. So you really don't need to see the movie after you've seen the musical numbers.
No.
That's just what we'll tell everybody from now on.
Directed by, say his name?
Ashutosh Gowarkar.
Who also directed Swades and...
Which, for
Lagan.
those of you who don't know, that's Swadesh. We know.
And Lagan.
And
starring and composed
starring Rajesh Vivek and Shaji Chowdhury. It was so great to see those guys again.
I love seeing him, don't
I
you?
especially love seeing Rajesh. I don't know what
From
it is.
Lagan, right?
Yeah, man. He makes me happy to see him. Anyway.
Starring Hrithik, Roshan and Aishwarya Rai Bachchan.
Yeah.
Two terribly unfortunate looking people.
Very, very unattractive people. I mean, throughout the movie, you're not wanting just... Did you find yourself the whole time going, just make a baby already?
Yeah.
We want to see what that baby looks like.
I think we said that multiple times.
Make a baby.
Regardless, it came out in 2008. I'm sure most of you have seen this film. If you haven't, it's on Netflix for us. If you have 3.5 hours, go watch
Spare time.
Go watch it. In fact, if you fast forward the songs, it's probably a good 2.5.
Yeah, you could knock out some time, but you're not going to.
No,
you're not going to want to.
You don't want to fast forward those songs, man.
No.
Regardless, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it and come back unless you want to be spoiled. And I think most of you have already seen the film. So, Rick, your initial thoughts, please.
I'm wondering if we have another Devdas on our hands. That was my thought when I was watching it.
What did you think about it?
Okay, so aside from the sword play and the fight scenes, which even then, for some reason, I was okay with it. I loved it. We've got another Devdas, don't we?
No, I liked it too.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
I did have problems.
It's got some flaws. It's got flaws.
And I'm sure you can already know some of the things that I'm going to point out. But overall, even I could have gotten through this entire thing in one sitting. Did you? How many sittings did you do?
I did it. I did it in 2. I started it. I watched an hour and a half of it last night and then finished the rest of it today. So I did it in 2 sittings.
We watched it. I think starting Friday night after Leland went down, because we have to watch stuff when Leland is asleep. There's no way we can watch anything while he's awake.
Absolutely.
He's too busy. So we started it, but we got, I think, 2 hours 40 in. And I was into it, and I was like, I could finish it, but I started to get a little drowsy,
sleepy.
And so I was like, I don't want to like accidentally fall asleep or miss something.
No, that's what was happening to me.
Yeah.
The time I started it last night, it was late, and I was getting sleepy, and I thought, I'm not going to force myself. I don't want to miss. I want to enjoy this.
Yeah. So oh, poor Leland.
He heard what you said about the fact that you can't watch movies when he's awake.
That's
He's deeply
true.
offended.
That's true. So that says a lot about a 3.5 hour film that I was like, I could watch this entire thing in one sitting. That's very few films that can do that.
It gave me what I was wanting.
Yeah.
From all we've seen with the numbers and expecting, it was the historic epic I was hoping it would be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the issues I have, but for the most part, I've really enjoyed this film. This director just knows how to make a good movie.
Yeah.
He, like Lagan, Swades, they all have flaws, but they're just all entertainers, man.
They really are.
They keep your attention, and that says a lot.
And one of my most favorite things about the direction of this film is a collaborative effort that's with him and his production design and art direction. Because I'm not a big fan of lighter pale colors like the light yellows and the oranges and the whites for that amount of time. For him to have created what he did and what the team did with basically majority of the shots were just plain daylight. It wasn't Sanjay Leela Bhansali lights and color and framings, but it was no less beautiful to me. In fact, in many ways, a different level of kind of beauty, because that is a really difficult thing to pull off. For 3 hours worth of stimulation for you to be watching, it carried the element of what the art direction and the production team had put together. I really can't say enough about their use of color and their use of natural lighting that a lot of other directors, you'd be just bored spitless and go, this is so nothing, but it was everything. I thought it was gorgeous.
I think the direction was really, really, and that's obviously what we'll talk about first. He once again knows how to make a really entertaining film, and I'm glad they focused more on the relationship than the battles, which was one of the things we'll get into later, because obviously to make, I don't want to get into it now. We'll get into that's one of the issues I had, and I'm sure you did as well. Was any of the action scenes, but we'll get into that later. But he focused on the love story between, which I think at the end, Amitabh Bachchan said there was nothing really written about these two.
Apparently so. Yeah, and there's lots of stories. I loved how at the very beginning they gave the disclaimer that said, we're not saying that this is the story. There's probably a bunch of different stories.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to sneeze. The grass pollen has been really brutal today. So if I sneeze 47 times, it isn't coronavirus, it's the grass pollen.
It's coronavirus. But yeah.
There it is.
Gross. But yeah, so I thought he did a really good job building that relationship with the two. And so let's talk. This is one of my favorite, if not my favorite performance from Hrithik. There were certain aspects of the way it was directed that I sometimes had an issue with in terms of, I'll get into that. But in terms of his performance, I thought for the most part, he gave a really subtle, really good performance.
I agree.
And I liked it a lot. Like this, and then I'd say probably Super 30.
I have a there's a
much more entertaining film than Super 30.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the Deborah film that I love so much. But that for me is probably, I would put it Deborah, Jodhaa Akbar, Super Deluxe. Super 30, Super Deluxe.
Hrithik was in Super
30.
Deluxe?
He was
the alien!
He was so good, they didn't even know he was the alien. So I agree with you. I felt, the other thing I love, which is a credit to the direction, I loved how everybody carried themselves, particularly since the majority of the story is told within the regality of the court. Everybody carried themselves and delivered their dialogue with what would be not an affectation to convey the dramaturgy, but an affectation of what regal status you would imagine carried in the 16th century. Yeah?
And Aishwarya.
Come on.
Oh, my word. She's always wonderful, but she was especially wonderful in this. She gave a really great performance, equal to, I think, Gershnach, which was also Hrithik.
Exactly.
If you don't know what Gershnach is, sorry. But I think she gave a really good, powerful performance, and you genuinely really cared for these characters. You're like, I want them to be together.
Yep, sure did.
And so that was really, really good, because obviously there's huge conflict of, different religions at the same time, and a bunch of different factors, and I thought that they did a really, really good job of building that.
I missed her eyes. I know we were being historical.
Yeah.
But when you have,
when she was crying sometimes.
I know. When you have two of the arguably most beautiful people to ever be on screen,
gorgeous people,
and not just their faces but their eyes.
Yeah.
They are arguably the most beautiful male and female eyes to ever be on screen.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
The whole time you're like, okay, make babies. Just make the babies. We want to see what your babies look like. And I geeked out on... Okay, when we reacted to the song where it's the consummation of them sharing their love for each other, it was beautiful to watch. But to see it in the context of the film and build to it,
it was great.
I geeked.
Did you?
Loved it. I actually, when we post this review on my Instagram, I'm going to post, because I recorded myself geeking out to the moment. and I sent it to Andrani because it was everything I wanted it to be. And one of my favorite lines in the whole film, and I really hope this was a word for word translation from the Hindi, when she said, "I love you," and then she said, "Do you feel the same?" His words were, "I love you a lot." It was perfect. I loved it. And A.R. Rahman's music, man.
He's going places. I hope he got more work after this.
The score.
Yeah.
But that song in particular, all the songs
Obviously,
are great.
another song, The Twirling Dervishes, I love singing it again. That's such a great one.
The song praising him as the emperor is great
Yeah.
with the drums. And so, yeah.
Yeah, it was all great. The cinematography, the set design.
Gorgeous.
Was really, really gorgeous. Let's talk about some of the supporting actors. It was a bunch. But your guy, what's his name?
Yeah, the two guys. My guy from Lagan, who I just love his face, man, is Rajesh Vivek. Rajesh Vivek
From Lagan, right?
From Lagan, where we first saw him. And I was like, where is he? I want to see him some more. I love his screen presence. I love his face. And then obviously, you know who Shaji Chowdhury is, right?
Hold on. Which one was he?
Well, he had an even smaller role in this.
Was that McBool?
No, it's Mirzapur, our guy we love, who's the right-hand man bodyguard.
McBool.
He was. Yes,
That's his
yes,
name.
that's right, McBool. His name is.
McBool.
I thought when you said McBool,
He wasn't in it very much.
I thought you meant the movie McBool.
No.
Yeah, the character.
He wasn't
for
in this very much.
No, he wasn't, but he was there.
Yeah.
It
was cool to see him.
Cool to see him.
So yeah, I thought the girl who wasn't his mother but played the mother,
The nursemaid.
Yeah, I thought she did a really good job.
I did too.
I liked her character. I mean, I didn't like her character, but I liked what she did. She was very, very believable.
Yeah, I also thought
The brother.
I
I thought he was really.
Did
He
a
looked
really good job.
he looked almost like a Bachchan.
I kept looking at him thinking, okay, I know it's not Abhishek Bachchan, but man, he looks like a Bachchan, especially around the eyes.
Is that Sonu?
Yes,
Sod?
Sonu Sod. Yeah, very Bachchani-ish.
He could play. Abhishek Bachchan's brother.
Yeah.
Man. Like that's my wife was like, "Is that Big B's son?" And I had to look it up. I was like, "I don't think so."
I knew it wasn't, but it was enough that I thought, that's not Abhishek Bachchan, but man, he looks like a Bachchan. Yeah. I thought he did a great job.
He did a really good job. Everybody as a whole did a really good job. Some of the issues I took were the action. I think you mentioned at the beginning. Obviously, that's just not where they put their money. And when you don't put enough money on a battle scene or in a fight scene, it just looks not as good as it should.
And I liked the fact that
It didn't look bad.
no, like the big fight sequence where you got a battle with a lot of soldiers in the beginning and the end. I loved they had a lot of background people and they had a lot of costuming and horses and it was epic and I loved that.
Closer stuff.
It was the closer one-on-one stuff. Okay, so his fight with the elephant, his breaking the elephant, the sword play that Aishwarya had, both with the guy she was fighting with and then with him, and then the final fight he had at the end. I just the sword play and the stunt work was very lacking. They were doing their ample best, I think, but
like I said, that's why I'm glad I was right when it opened and it was a big battle. I was like, I'm hoping they're gonna, and that's what I thought the movie was, more about the relationship than any of the big battles.
I wasn't expecting a battle.
So I was like, okay, so I'm assuming this is just gonna be a little part, and that was the case. And so I didn't obviously knock it that much.
No.
There was some other melodramatic stuff that it just gets me, especially when anything was revealed. Like any big shock and Hrithik is watching. Dun dun dun. I'm like, why?
Okay, you
don't do that.
So you need to know something. That is so cliched and has been cliched for so long in American cinema that in the film High Anxiety, Mel Brooks's film, which came out in 1977, ladies and gentlemen, they specifically, when a moment like that happens, there's moments where Mel Brooks is in the elevator with his buddy and they say something revelatory and the orchestra goes, "Ba-ra," and the two guys go like this. 1977. So having melodramatic music accentuate something has been so cliche and funny for us for so long that to see it in a 2008 film, your inclination is to go, oh, good grief. But It didn't
Luckily-
bother me as much as other films.
And it wasn't in most of the film.
It only happened 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, so like there were times, and that's the one thing that always gets me. No matter which film, which region, anything, I don't care if it's Hollywood, Bollywood, Mollywood, I don't care. If there is melodramaticness, I'm not going to like it.
Yeah. Now, and when it
Not
came,
the film, but that part.
When
In
it-
some films, like what we said in Drishyam 2, it was all
It's
throughout
too
the
much.
film, and that's what got us.
Yeah, it's one thing for it to happen 2 or 3 times. It's another for every revelatory statement to have it, like it did in Drishyam 2.
Yeah.
And as far as the, I felt this way about the fight sequences that were the one-on-one kind of thing that just didn't work well.
Yeah.
So if you watch a show at Disneyland, any of the live shows that they do, and there's a fight sequence on the stage.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look really good, but you don't care because you're at
No.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
That's how I felt with
Yeah,
this.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I would 100% watch this again, and I can see
absolutely.
why people. I think that's what was said to us in any song reactions, all the song reactions we did, and the trailers. That like it's a good film. It's long, but it's good.
Yeah.
And that I would say that as well. I would definitely, if this was on, I would absolutely sit.
Oh,
and,
I would.
and have
I'd
it
love
on
to be in that world again.
and watch it. I would
Yeah.
absolutely do that. The length. This director is just good. Because Lagan, Swadesh, and this, all almost 3.5 hours, all of them,
And
but
keep you-
all
keep you
are
engaged.
engaged and good films. So
Yep.
the dude likes long films, but at least he does it well.
Absolutely.
So that's an impressive feat.
It's a very impressive feat to get you to want to just sit in a world like that for hours on end and be okay with it.
Normal films here in Hollywood, you have to be Lord of the Rings, Star Wars,
Oh,
Marvel,
yeah.
in order to be that length.
Because give you an example, the last really long film that came out
Avengers.
was it was Scorsese's
Oh,
film,
Irishman.
The Irishman. That everybody pretty much across the board was like, okay, shoot me now, stop it, Marty. And he did the same thing with what was the one that takes place in Japan?
Oh, silence.
Silence.
Yeah.
We love that film, but
Yeah.
again, it was like,
Way too long.
come to an end with the film, Marty. I mean, you're just, what are you doing? And you never get that with this director.
No, at least in these 3 films.
Nope.
So I absolutely thank you guys for being patient.
Yeah, really. And,
What?
and I gotta say this too. I was so after the climactic love song, right? I looked at the time on the film.
Didn't Johnny like this film? Did she like
Yeah, she liked this film a lot. She said this film is about the love story, and you're gonna love the chemistry with Aishwarya and Hrithik.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it's gonna be about.
Absolutely.
So yeah, she loves this film. But I saw there was like 30 minutes left in the film, and I started getting really bothered by the prospect of, if you kill one of these 2 people, I'm gonna be really mad.
I probably would have loved that.
You would have loved it. It's like, if either Jodhaa or Akbar die,
I didn't so much like the scene where her prayers got him back to life.
I loved it. I loved it.
I will tell you, I let out a ugh.
But another thing I did like, and I felt this way throughout the film, and it was kind of a through message that was happening without being a heavy-handed thing, was, everybody could really take a lesson from one of the lines that Hrithik has toward the end, as we're bringing an end to the story, and he's talking about, don't you guys say anything bad about my wife.
Yeah.
We've built a temple for her, and we're going to respect it. The level of empathy and inclusion and respect, where his line, this isn't verbatim, but he basically says, in my kingdom, there's going to be respect for all beliefs. Just because someone has a different religious belief than you doesn't mean that we're going to be antagonistic toward each other.
Yeah. That's a message that can still resonate today.
It's needed today all over the world.
All over the world. From in every different religion.
Yeah.
So I think they definitely had a really good message behind it.
It really did.
And you just gotta love watching Hrithik and Aishwarya. They
were-
have perfect chemistry.
They were made. There's a saying about, the camera loves certain people.
Oh, it definitely loves them.
Yeah, and then there's a whole other level of love. There's sincerely, I would tell anybody, one of the reasons you want to watch stuff from India, among the millions of reasons, is because Hrithik Roshan and Aishwarya Rai Bachchan are 2 of the, if not arguably the most cinematically beautiful people to ever grace the screen. They
Absolutely.
just were made to be on screen. And I really applaud. We've said this when we noticed it about Aishwarya. I've called her the hardest working woman in Bollywood with the stuff that she does. But I really felt, I'd love to know what Hrithik put into this, because I feel like from what we saw, I feel like he poured everything of his heart and soul into trying to get this right.
I think so too.
Right?
Yeah.
I really
That's why
felt,
I say it might be my favorite performance of his.
Yeah, I mean, when all is said and done, I would probably point to this, because there's something about his effort in every way, the physicality of the character, the regality, the way he carried himself, the emotion in his eyes that was always genuine. In fact, we loved her in Snatch. I had moments of questioning where he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I felt he really applauded. This is probably my favorite Hrithik performance.
Yeah. After you get down to it, well, obviously we need to see a lot more of Hrithik. But thank you guys once again for being patient with us. Hope you are satisfied, even though if we didn't like it, we still would have told you.
And those of you waiting for Bahubali 2, don't give up.